Welcome to I Love My HBCU ? The podcast where we express our undeniable love for HBCUs, but where we are also not afraid to address a few tough questions. So, sit back, learn a little, love a lot, and rep your HBCU. Hello, beautiful people. I'm not even going to introduce myself. If you don't know me, that's perfectly okay. I have an amazing, no, seriously, he is an amazing human being. Those who have gotten to meet him already know this. One of the top 3 hosts in the country, according to several HBCU sites. Jonah J. Reid, how are you?
I'm great. Thank you for having me. I love my HBCU.
Jonah, you are the CEO of J. Reid Productions. You are a student at Fayetteville State University. You are entertaining several different deals in real time currently. I think you are multifaceted just by all the things I know of you. And if I can convince you to play a little bass on your guitar before this recording is over, I'll be really happy. However, Jonah, how would you describe you?
So that's a great question, first of all. I would describe myself as an entertainer.
As an
That simple.
entertainer.
It's very simple as an entertainer. I like the word influencer, but I like entertainer because I love to have a good time. I like to have to exchange energy and for other people to understand what it means to have a good time and how to truly be entertained. I feel like it's a lost art.
So you said you like the word influencer, and I actually kind of like the fact that you came back to the word entertainer. And my reason for liking that is when I think of an entertainer, I know what to expect of them. I know that it is very likely that Jonah either sings or he raps or he acts or he creates a space for me to not think so much about the drudgery of my life, but to get into a stress-free zone and enjoy a moment. That's what I think of when
That imagery in those sentences that you just said was beautiful.
I
That's
love it.
exactly what entertainment is about. I might applaud you. This is an educated black woman right here.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. But when you say influencer, I have so many questions. What are you trying to influence me to do? What influence should you have over me? And listen, I'm not saying you should not use that word. I just personally think for the little that I know of you, go with entertainer because it is what you do and you bring a whole lot of talent to the table that way. Influencers don't always bring talent. I don't know what they bring, but they don't always bring talent. And there's a question mark there.
So when I mention the word influencer, it's because of my generation and
Of
the
course.
pedestal and how we view influencers as a whole. We give them much more power through social media. And I'm a promoter. I promote black owned brands. I am a party promoter. I'm the promoter on campus, but we also promote festivals and
Yeah.
anything positive. So when I make music, when I am hosting, and when I'm showing my creativity, it's usually about positivity and my views on life. You rarely hear me curse in my music,
Mm, mm.
and that's where the influencer part comes from me, anyways, because of the fact that I'm trying to change the narrative. I put my fours up. People say don't put gang signs. I'm telling them I'm from Charlotte, North Carolina, 704. I'm not part, you know what I'm saying? So just changing the narrative of how people view our our culture, because a
Yes.
lot of culture ends up swaying towards the streets when
Mm, mm.
there's a lot more black people than just hood culture.
I love that. I love that. B, thank you for at least sharing with me your perspective as to why you use the word influencer. And I respect it. I really do. I absolutely respect it. Um for an old head like me, break down, because it's become a thing. Like I didn't even need to ask my students to know that you were one of the top 3 hosts in the country. I didn't. I did not need to ask them. I kind of just knew. But for old head like me, what tell me why hosting is something that, not that you enjoy to do. That's not a fair question. People should be able to enjoy whatever the heck it is they want to do. But it has some notoriety now that it did not have before. I know you and the other, like a few other names, faster than I know some of the SJ presidents on campus. And I'm just being very honest. So help me understand, talking about culture and time, help me and people like me, help us understand why hosting has such a notoriety to it.
You know how royal courts are the face of said school? Hosting is exactly like that, except we have to make sure people are paying attention, they understand whatever is going on at the event, and that they still matriculate at the end of the day because we are also students. So, um, for me, I didn't realize how much power host had until they gave me a title as the top HBCU host, because I was already hosting because I wanted to show my Bronco pride at my school. I wanted to show that I have some different talents and we can have fun the right way. I just needed the platform. Now I have that platform. I can speak from my HBCU through conversations like this to
Absolutely.
show people that other than the biology and the chemist, we also have art majors, musicians, videographers, photographers, people in media to put eyes on HBCUs from different walks of life.
Jonah, I do you see me smiling, like, and it's a heartfelt smile. And I was already following you when you gave the example of the royal court and then being the face of many institutions. Um, but as you started to describe the hosts as I think the I think the hosts, honestly, though, are more than just the face, though. They are the heartfelt fun of the university as well. They remind you that, you know what, you're going to make it through and I'm going to help you make it through, but this is the way I'm going to do it. And
Exactly.
if you notice, I'm careful not to use the word party. I'm so careful not to use that. And the reason why I'm so careful not to use that is because from the little I know about hosting, it's not just parties, it's several other types of events that you are making sure that people are engaging in a very specific, productive, and exciting way. Is that accurate?
That is very accurate. That's why I had my hands up like this earlier, cause that is, you know what, people misconstrue what MCs and hosts do all the time. So for you to be open minded like that, for that perspective, is awesome. My last gig that I hosted was a fashion show, but before that, it was a male summit. Hosted by the
Hmm.
Tulsa Initiative here in Fayetteville, North Carolina. They're a nonprofit organization who help male, BIPOC, people of color,
Yes.
um, communities find find grants and help shape their businesses. You know what I'm saying? So for the summit, the youth summit, we invited um black males, well, all males, but specifically black males, from the Cumberland County schools to come to our university for panels, discussions, and icebreakers, just to have somebody that looked like them represent. And I got to host. I got to give out watches and books and jerseys, and we still had fun, even though we were talking about going to college at the end of the day. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And circling all in the back around to community and what that's supposed to look like. So yeah, so hosts do a lot more than just parties, and I that's why I stray away from that word as well. I'm glad you said that.
Jonah, I think I'm just going to keep smiling every single time you talk. And here's why. There's so many things that you are saying that align so well with who we are, i.e., I love my HBCU question mark. And what you just said allows me to remind everyone that we are a social impact and civic engagement platform. And the fact that, so a student asked me, a student is really looking forward to this particular episode, by the way. When I told them, guess what? Yes, Jonah. Yes. He's like, really? Yes, Jonah. Uh,
That's crazy to hear.
it's crazy, but it's beautiful. It's beautiful that you are making impact somehow with people you don't even know. That's beautiful. So I told the person, hey, listen, we're going to be having a recording with Jonah very soon. And he said, wait, Jonah's going to be, I was like, yes, he is. And that's exciting. They're like, you don't even know who he is, Dr. Tosin. And I'm like, listen, yes, I do. He's one of the top 3 hosts. And they're like, wait, how do you know that? Anyway, um, what was fun about that conversation is you might hear that I Love My HBCU is a social impact and civic engagement organization and platform. And then you hear that, okay, so you're having a conversation with Jonah Reid and he's a host. Well, listen to what Jonah Reid just said and listen to the events that Jonah Reid is hosting. And unless you have these types of conversations to hear about how multifaceted people are, you put them in a box as opposed to allowing all of who they are to be on display. So I'm grateful for the types of events that you've just shared that you do. And we're going to get into that conversation about what you get out of your social impact activities in a second. But right now, though, I want to throw the rapid fire segment at you. Are you ready?
I think so. Whew. Let me get my mind right.
Absolutely. He's like, where is she going with this? It's the rapid fire segment. So 67 seconds on the clock, and I'm throwing all these questions at you. I want to get a lot of questions in, Jonah. So don't be one of those people that spends 45 of the 67 seconds answering one question, okay? Thank you. Jonah, describe yourself in 3 words.
Energetic, positive, playful.
I love it. I love it. Jonah, you are at your college graduation. Who do you want as your commencement speaker?
Commencement speaker, Will Smith.
Will Smith. Okay. Okay. What's the best meal at your HBCU?
Come on, fried. I know this cliche, but fried chicken Wednesday hit
It's
every time.
cliche. It is too cliche for me. Too
It hit
cliche.
every time.
What's your unpopular opinion about your HBCU?
We actually enjoy ourselves during homecoming. People never talk about our homecoming. It's all about the blue or no hole in our rodeo week. Favorite. All I'm gonna say is Winston-Salem State are rivals for a reason.
Winston-Salem State are rivals for a reason. Shout out your favorite professor.
Professor Sweeney, easy. He is so easy to work with. He opened my mind about cinematography, and that's what I'm in school for. He likes horror. I like comedy, so I feel like opposites attract. And he opened my eyes to a wider view of what cinematography is supposed to look like in Florida, Carolina.
So I was just told that the time's up, but I think you're going to give me a fun answer to this question. This is the question I ask alumni. I've never asked a student this question.
Okay.
I'm going to ask you your time in college so far as a song. What is that song?
Oh, you know that song "Happy" by Pharrell?
I do.
That's the one.
Jonah, you are light. I love you. Like okay. If we were to ask your mom, your family, is Jonah that person that walks into the room and just makes everybody feel good about themselves? Would that be an accurate assessment of who you are?
I've been talking to people since I was 4. I love people. I think, and you know how a lot of times people can be aggravating. I'm very much the benefit of the doubt type of guy. You know what I'm saying? I always find that benefit of whoever it is, and I find myself relating to them. So yes, I
Yeah.
am. I'm. That's me.
That's beautiful. Please never change. Please always be that person that when you walk into the room, people feel good around you and you're always looking for the benefit of the doubt. I sincerely appreciate it. Okay. Um, Jonah, what does Fayetteville State University? No, 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 no. How could I go there, Tosin? Not yet. Jonah, you are from Charlotte, North Carolina. you have a gazillion universities in the whole state of North Carolina, like a gazillion. And then you've got a semi-gazillion of HBCUs. How did you end up at Fayetteville State University? I want to hear your college selection journey.
I knew this question was gonna come up.
Of course.
Um, that's part of the reason why I went to Fayetteville State, actually.
Huh.
So I graduated from West Mecklenburg High School in Charlotte, North Carolina. Student athlete, played basketball all 4 years. During that time, though, I also was dual enrollment. So I was attending Performance Learning Center, Central Piedmont Community College, and then I took the city bus to go to West Meck to play basketball. So I was always,
Wow.
I was everywhere. With that in mind, I think I was getting tired of school
Hmm.
because of how much schooling I was putting myself through. Um, when I knew I wanted to do some higher education, I just wasn't sure where that was gonna be. You know, being in Charlotte, the first schools we went to was UNC Charlotte. You know, that's in Queens Grant. That's the first two schools. Then um we heard about John C. Smith. I didn't know
Mm-hmm.
anything about HBCUs until I started going to the CIAA tournaments that was hosted in Charlotte during that time because I was in high
Wow.
school. Yeah, so it was in
Wow.
Charlotte before they moved to Baltimore. I graduated high
Absolutely.
school 2019. So I went on tours through Trio Student Support Services. I was and still am a part of Trio. Shout out to my advisor Lex Bibbs. He's actually alumni at John C. Smith University, who
Nice.
works at West Mecklenburg High School. So
Nice.
we went to A&T. I remember A&T was huge. I remember A&T was huge, and half of Charlotte was going to A&T. It wasn't even funny. Like everybody that was in high school during that time, at least 10 of them was going to A&T.
Auntie.
So, I never saw myself as being a follower, and I heard it was an engineering school, and I'm an entertainer who's in like common media, so that really wasn't my vibe. I got accepted to Central. Central, Central was looking like it was about to be my HBCU, and then I went, and then I don't know, it just something didn't sit well. I feel like the people there was wonderful. I got a network, but it just didn't sit. I came on campus at Fayetteville State, and everything was one big circle. It wasn't too big, it wasn't too small.
Got it. Got it.
You could meet new people every day, but if you were active, you were seeing some of the same people, and everything was in close but far proximity. Felt like a family-oriented school, and I remember them teaching me about their motto, "Res non verba," deeds not words.
Deeds, not
I
words.
can't. I applied, and you know what? I'll be transparent. I had to take my ACT over to attend Fayetteville State University, and I got in, and we are here now.
We
Even though
are
I got
here now.
accepted to so many other schools, this was the one I felt it in my spirit. And it's crazy because you hear people saying, "Go on there, you got to make sure you vibe with the campus." As soon as I vibed here, I knew, and
Yeah.
I've been getting a whole bunch of opportunities from Fayetteville State ever since.
I've always heard, I always ask the college selection journey, always, and for several reasons. And I hear two very common responses. One is often money. It's the university that gave me my scholarship, that afforded me to go there. The other reason I hear is yours. And I like yours, and I want to talk about yours a little bit because there is a lot to be said for stepping onto a campus and just feeling that this is where I belong,
Hmm.
or stepping onto a campus and just not, you said it didn't vibe, that those were your words, it didn't vibe with me.
Right.
Unless you felt it, I don't necessarily know if you can describe it. Because somebody might say, well, Jonah, come on, you're a young black man. It's mostly black people that are at North Carolina A&T, as well as Johnson C. Smith and several other universities or HBCUs, particularly in North Carolina. So when you say it was stepping on Fayetteville's campus, and I know you said it wasn't too small, it wasn't too big, that's size. But talking about that vibe that you're saying you got when you went to Fayetteville, Describe that. Like, what's the essence? What's the spirit of Fayetteville, if you will, that when you got there, you knew this is going to be my home for the next 4 years?
When I got there, unlike the other tours, I actually got to see what a Fayetteville State student day to day will look like.
Okay.
I got to see college students walking around, saying hey, bye, just, just walking past. Then we got into the classrooms, and I remember it was only like 12 students and one professor. And I remember going into high school and then be like 30 students and one teacher, and that one teacher is having a hard time bonding with the students because of the plethora of students that they have.
Got it.
Now, with professors, and you being a professor as well, like, I'm pretty sure that even through all those emails, it's pretty hard to keep up with everybody. But once once you are consistent and you start seeing the same people that's coming to class and you have that relationship, it's not as hard.
That's
I
true.
didn't. I You could tell by watching the lectures that it would be easy to keep up with professors here if I'm doing my due diligence,
Yeah,
as
yeah.
well as going to the calf and seeing that buffet and the booths and people vibing. It's just I've never seen that. I've never seen it in our community where one person isn't arguing. If I'm being honest, like where I'm from, it's always at least one argument, at least a fight, at least some type of negativity going around. When I did not get those vibes from Fayetteville, and I'm an energy guy, and all I felt was positivity, I knew this is where I had to be.
Yeah. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. So listen, I think from listening to you, there's a lot of things that Fayetteville gets right for you. Tell me one thing that Fayetteville gets wrong.
I feel as if we are traditional.
Why is that so wrong? I want to hear this.
We we are not. This actually, you know what? Pros and cons to everything. Being
Of course.
too traditional means that we know what's gonna happen. We know how to go around it, but it also means there's also no leeway for growth
Got it.
sometimes.
Got it.
Um,
Okay.
um, I think of it as having a fixed mindset
Okay.
because
Okay.
as soon as other opportunities arise, because we're too traditional, it's like, yeah, we can't do that because we don't roll this way, which is also a good thing because we stick to our morals.
Mm,
But
mm.
if we close ourselves off from the world entirely, there's no room for growth. So
So
I think we
so
got to figure out the fine line in between the two.
when I hear you say that's why I was like, wait, traditional is a good thing. What do you mean? So I'm glad you explained it because when I hear what you're saying, then it might sound that it's not particularly the tradition part that you have an issue with, but the part where you might get a little stuck in your ways. And when you get stuck in your ways, you are not open to change. And sometimes some change is really good in order for you to grow. That's what I'm hearing.
That's exactly what it is. No, no, whether it's for events, the band, uh, or athletics. Like we need a little leeway with certain things, especially during homecoming rodeo week when a lot of money is to be made for students. You know what I'm saying? Or even for the university to give back for the students. It's a lot of opportunities that I feel as if we miss that
I
we
hear
can,
you.
you know,
I hear you.
really
I hear
actually
you.
shine upon.
So Jonah, you earlier on when we were talking, you mentioned some of the different types of events that you get to MC and host for. And listen, I love an entertainer and I love partying. I actually do. But I there's a special place in my heart for social impact, clearly, hence this platform. And you mentioned some events that is actually what you do. Um, do you find, and you can speak for Fayetteville State University, you can speak for multitudes of HBCUs, it's entirely up to you here, or just the culture around you as you see it. Do you find that we do enough in those spaces. And by we, I am referring to the HBCU community, individuals and as a group. Do we get ourselves as involved in social impact and civic engagement activities as much as you would like? And let me help you out here a little bit as you form your opinion to that response or for that response. I know I've been at my institution for almost 2 decades now, and I know that if something goes wrong in the world and you need Black students to lead a protest for you, to engage in a protest for you, you've got them. You've got them. And I'm one of those people that says that is part of the activities that you must engage in, because some things require a vocal response of sometimes rage and annoyance, sometimes. But my challenge is always after the protest, now what? That's always my challenge is we've protested, we don't know what results are going to come of this protest. We know that protests don't change policy. We know that protests don't turn into law. So is there more that we could be doing, or are we doing enough in different social impact spaces? What are your thoughts?
It is a good question because I have been asking myself, have I been doing enough? Um, Recently with the recent presidential campaign, HBCU Buzz has been making sure they've been hitting up everybody who is top HBCU anything, including Royal Courts, to make sure that they vocalize the importance of voting. And this 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 has been the most engagement I've seen my generation
Hmm.
do, well, participate in, other than Black Lives Matter.
Wow.
And for my generation, we do need to vocalize our opinions more often because it does matter. A lot of eyes were open, even though, you know, a lot of people didn't get to see the outcome that they wanted to see. We are still aware and we are learning. Now, to answer your question fully, I feel as if after the protests and after some nonprofit organizations do fundraisers and give backs, there should be conferences or where panelists will come up and educate,
Hmm.
because even though we are voicing our opinions, there's a lot other things in government that we just don't know. You know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
not, and we don't. It's not a regular conversation. We're not bringing it up at the dinner table.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
where else is it going to be brought up? And it takes conversations and conventions and conferences with one community to talk about whatever it is that we need to talk about. I feel like
So you
that'll be the next shift for our community.
is having ongoing conversations about the issues that matter to us, the issues that we protest about, the issues that are brought up at different elections. Because, at every election, that's when all the big issues are mentioned. And then after the election, it kind of goes a little silent. So you're saying ongoing conversations about those things would actually help our community. I tend to agree. I also tend to think that we need more Jonahs. We need more. There's a young lady that we spoke to not too long ago. I'm not going to mention her name right now, but she's also a student at an HBCU. We need more of you asking to be heard, regardless of what you have to say, and engaging those conversations consistently. You are the next generation, whether we like it or not. You are the next generation of leaders. That's what I mean. And whether people like what you have to say or not, whether people think you are ready for it or not, you're coming. You're coming and they're going. Cause that's the beauty about Father Time is Father Time is gonna call your number at some point in time. And when Father Time calls your number, then Father Lord in heaven, who's gonna step into those shoes and actually execute those roles well? Let's bring it home to HBCUs. what could we be doing at HBCUs to encourage those ongoing conversations? And hold on, and you're an MC, so you know that what I'm about to say is true. If Jonah puts the word out on campus, hey guys, I'm hosting a slumber party, they're there. If Jonah puts the word out, I'm hosting a Greek fest, they're there. I don't know if Jonah puts the word out that I'm hosting a civic engagement chat, are they still going to be there? So, bearing that in mind, Jonah, what should we be doing on our campuses and how do we get you involved, i.e., the HBCU student?
So, um, I like to think we need more model UN or debate teams at HBCUs,
Model
and
UNs and debate teams.
that in itself, those debate teams or organizations could plan an event where they actually debate and people can see what they're talking about. Automatically, students are going to want to join the debate team, and then whatever they talk about is going to end up in the school system or in social media, and then we end up talking about it because we have debates that we watch, right, that I can host. You see what I'm saying? And just bringing the students back together where it can be fun in senses, with snacks and water, little things, just to bring people there, just to see what we're trying to do. That could be step one.
Okay.
Then doing
Step two.
events like the civic engagement, volunteer hours, because students need volunteer hours for extracurricular activities or anything they want to do, and for civic engagement. I feel as if my mom got me volunteering since I was 11, 10. You know what I'm saying? Even when I didn't even understand what we were doing,
Why? Yeah.
we, we were still doing it. And forcing those students, I think I think a part of college application should be volunteer hours,
Okay.
and a
Okay.
graduate to at least do 20 hours per year. I feel like that is easy. That's easy, and we're
For
giving back to
every
our
single
community.
college student? I'm
20
just
hours,
asking. I
20
know a lot of honors programs require that, but you're saying for every college student it should be required.
for every degree,
For every
20 hours
degree.
per year. You break
It's
that
not a
up,
lot of hours.
you see what I'm
It's
saying?
not a lot of
But
hours.
but but that way you're also forcing the students to go outside, to get out their dorms, because a lot on this campus anyways, a lot what would happen even with the events that they want, they still end up
Mm-hmm.
inside their dorms complaining about how
There's
lame
nothing
their
to do.
HBC. Exactly. When there's a plethora of opportunities and
Absolutely.
entertainment that they could be a part of, they just choose not to. So you do have to kind of force people to do little stuff, and that'd be an easy way to get students
Okay,
engaged.
listen, I hope we're all taking notes because I say try it, see if it works. That's what my suggestion is. Talk about J. Reid Productions.
Woo! So I started J Productions in 2019, my senior year of high school, because I'm a photographer, videographer.
Okay,
That's how J Productions started. I
okay.
was making music since I was 13, like in the studio. I've been writing songs since I was 7. So I published my music through ASCAP through J Productions. It also worked because it's a photography and videography business, and I understood the need of music videos as an independent artist. So I was just doing music videos. I was helping people vlog. I actually did a political campaign for uh I'm not gonna say anybody, a party who was running for Senate. Um,
There we go.
uh, in North Carolina, I dibble and dabble. I've even done logos for realtors. So I got a team now, of freelance photographers and videographers. People can book whoever they choose, and our whole goal is to make sure that we build the entertainment culture in the Carolinas, because our motto and
Mm.
our vision our team plan is to make sure entrepreneurs and entertainers make a profit in their communities. Because a lot of times you'll hear entertainers moving to New York, Atlanta, Los Angeles, California to quote unquote make it. When a lot of
Absolutely.
talent come from the rural areas, James Brown is where? From like Goldsboro, North Carolina. I might be mistaken. I know he's from the Carolinas now. Fantasia. You got Fantasia, Anthony
Fantasia.
Hamilton. You
There we
have
go.
you have Sunshine Anderson, J. Cole, and the list can go on. But we have to make sure that we understand customer service, business ethics, and we have affordable pricing to keep the money in our community. So that's what Jerry Production is all about.
Number one, I hear that you are an ultimate creative. That's what I hear when you break down all the things that J Reed Productions is trying to do. Jonah of J Reed Productions is a ultimate creative. That's the first thing I hear. The second thing I hear, which I think is really, really sweet, is making sure home gets the spotlight and making sure people realize the depth of Carolina talent.
Exactly.
That's the second thing I hear, which I think that's heartwarming. I really, really do. And I think you can do it. I think you can do it. I really do. I've got some ideas for you, and I was about to just start talking about all of them, but I'm going to talk about them with you offline. I think you can do it because nah, you guys have culture. Everyone's got culture before people come at me, but there's something about the Carolinas, man, and there's go
Before
ahead,
you
Jonah.
continue, I would say before you continue, so like that's the problem, and that's also what's gonna solve the problem. Everywhere else has a definite culture. The
Okay,
Carolinas in this age growing is growing. Just say it in one word. To build
okay.
that culture because we don't have a said culture. We don't you know what I'm saying? We don't have a style
Hmm, hmm,
because in the Carolinas the styles are
hmm.
so vast and we inspire from everywhere that it's a whole bunch of just urban entertainment.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
You can go to New York
So
and you know the style you're gonna get. Atlanta, you know the style you're gonna get. You go to Carolinas, you might get a mix of everything.
everything. So you want it to be more signature. You can help define that though, Jonah. Like seriously. You and J Reed Productions, and I'm not just saying this to be saying this.
Hmm.
How did some of these things start? They started by a group of young people deciding they wanted something that is more identifiable for themselves.
Right.
And so they influenced others along the way, i.e., the influencers, but in the real sense of the word, to actually be a part of what identifies them. So I sincerely believe you can do it. I'm not just blowing smoke. I really think you can do it. But I also think there's a commitment that's needed to doing that all the way. So I'm curious. I look forward to seeing where this goes. I really, really am. Jonah, before we leave, is there anything that you're like, wait, Tosin should have asked me this and she didn't? If you can think of it, please take this opportunity to share it with the audience.
Well, you know what? I know we could talk for hours just based off
Absolutely.
this conversation. So I'm gonna just keep it simple for Fayetteville State. Fayetteville State University offers a lot more than what meets the eye. I just found out that our music program teaches how to produce music, how to produce beats. I'm not even in school for that, and I make music. So make sure that you actually do your research and you call up because a lot of what's offered at schools aren't always on the websites.
That's
They aren't always
true.
there. You have to go find out yourself.
I
And
like that.
Fayetteville State is not to be slept on. Bronco
I
Pride
love
all the
it.
way.
I love it. You love Fayetteville State. You could have hyped yourself. You could have hyped J Reed Productions. No, you wanted to talk about Fayetteville State, and I really appreciate that. And that last sentence that you said, not everything that a university offers, especially HBCUs, is going to be on the website, and that's okay. Go and feel, touch, walk the space, and you'll get the vibe, the soul of the place, like Jonah literally was mentioning. Jonah, end this episode with me. Leave our audience with a parting word or short phrase on why you love HBCUs.
Well, I love HBCU. That's a great one. Okay, let me cook.
He said, let me
I love
cook. I love this
HBCUs.
generation.
Why I love, oh my goodness. Ooh. Oh, why I love HBCUs? Because my HBCU taught me without perseverance, you will fail.
My HBCU taught me that without perseverance, you will fail. Jonah J. Reid, it has been a pleasure having this conversation with you today. I thank everyone who has tuned in and watched on YouTube and listening, on any of your audio streams. It is impossible for you not to go ahead and like this episode, not because of me, but because of Jonah J. Reid, one of the top hosts in the country. Jonah of Fayetteville State University, thank you so much. Till next episode, yours in HBCU love. Thanks, Jonah.
Thank you for having me.
You've been listening to I Love My HBCU ? Let's keep the conversation going as we share our stories and encourage more practical support of HBCUs, whilst of course holding each other accountable. Don't forget to follow and subscribe for the latest episodes. Until next time, love and lift your HBCU.